life. And more important than that, she's been very instrumental in the Detroit area of Narcotics Anonymous. This lady that I'm telling her story, she came to the fellowship using an alias. She changed. She became a real lady. She came into this fellowship at a time when many women wasn't recovering. And she came in and started recovering like a lady, with dignity, doing service work, opening meetings, sponsoring, finding God. Have went through many challenges and probably still go through some now, but she does it all with dignity. Heikmat, I love you. Come on, give it away. Give it away.
Hi. My name is Heikmat, and I am an addict. Nervous one, too. I was really, when somebody says a lot of wonderful things about you, that I know for me it touches me. Anyway, I'd like to thank the committee, which surprised me by asking me to speak. I don't speak that often, and this really was a surprise for a lot of reasons. One being that I haven't been too happy about some of the things that I see going on at this particular convention. Let me qualify myself though first. I, as many other addicts, used and used and used. I first really got a glimpse of when I was in trouble, when the man I really, really loved, I had to leave because I couldn't stop using. He tried everything he could to get me to stop, the little met pills, the geographical cure, the threats, whatever, I couldn't stop. The best way to tell you about who I am and who I was is to tell you through the steps of my relationship with the steps. This is the program. I ain't talking about the fellowship right now. I'm talking about the program. When I first came around, step one, I was ready to admit that. It was not difficult for me to see that once I picked up, I was totally consumed. Totally. My total being. Everything, every thought, every action, every deed had something to do with dope. Yeah. So I could admit that. And I could see the unmanageability because of that. Because when I was using, I couldn't manage to do anything else other than that. I went on to the second step, and just like the book says, how we pass over it with a minimum of concern, and I did. Because I thought that it was automatic. With me putting down the dope, I thought automatically I was restored. I mean, after all, I wasn't blowing up in mirrors. I wasn't taking them penitentiary chances to try to get up on no money to get no blow. I wasn't hitting myself all the places that I said I'd never go when I first started to use. I wasn't crawling around on that rug looking for a kibble and a bit that I had hoped had popped off the pipe or dropped off the table. So I thought I was automatically sane at that point. I went on to the third step, and I see a lot of people, come into the program early and immediately latch onto that step, or so they think. Because see, the thing was, I thought that, turning my will and my life over to God meant that whenever anything went wrong, I threw it at it. You can have it, God. Please take it, Lord, have mercy. That was what turning my life and my will over meant. Soon as I was in trouble, it was God, 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 God. I went to the fourth step. Now, mind you now, all this happened with over a period of time. I wasn't no 90-day wonder. You know, sometimes I wonder how I stayed here that first 90 days. I went to the 4th step, and I did it. And I don't know if anybody can identify with this, but, you know, when I got through, I balled those papers up, stuck them way back in the drawer, up under some stuff, and didn't want to face that again. The first time I did a 5th step, somebody came by my house with a problem they were having, and we began to talk. Now, to show you how God works, this happened to be one of my former wife-in-laws. Huh? So, hey, God good, y'all. So, you know, we started talking, and our lives were similar. They were very similar, and we had a lot of the same issues. And she whipped out her little balled up papers, and I went and got my little balled up papers, and we did a 5th together, you know. The 6th step, if I hadn't done the 5th, I wouldn't have known about the defects for the 6th. And I thought I was full of them. I remember Mo telling me one time I had so many defects. I had made in China stamped on my forehead. But I told him he also had made in Taiwan stamped on his. So, you know, I went on to the 7th, and somehow I thought by me asking God to remove the defects, it was going to be easy. You know. Again, throwing stuff at God. So I thought that some kind of way, without a lot of hurt and pain, these defects of character were going to be removed, you know. The 8th step, you know, when I read that part in the book about, you know, we had hurt many people, but most of all, we harmed ourselves. Well, that was a good one. Okay, I harmed myself. Let me put me at the head of the list. My children, I know I had hurt. So it was like me and them and very little room for anybody else, because I really couldn't see where I had done a great many people that much harm. After all, when I thought about it, most of them deserved it. They were asking for it. They put themselves in that position, so they had it coming. So I went on to the 9th step, and you know, somehow when we in the 8th, you know, and we're thinking about the 9th, and when we get into the 9th, we're looking for this perfect moment to come. You know, we already know what we're going to say and how we're going to say it, and we visualize how this is going to come about, you know, and it's all in our heads, you know, because it never happens that way. When I went to the 10th step, I could admit I was wrong to Vicky and Pearl. Not having wronged them now, I could tell them about the wrong I did to you. See, God was already there. He knew. I didn't have to tell him. I could tell them, but I couldn't tell you. So that promptly admitting it, yeah, but to the wrong person. Pearl and I used to do a 10th step just about every night together. And, you know, we would always somehow find the humor in it. If you don't find any humor in this program, you're going to be a miserable ass. I'm going to tell you right now. So then, one night, me and Pearl doing our 10th step on the phone. So somebody calls in on the other line and say, this is Inspector so-and-so with the FBI. Is this Heikmat Abdul? I said, yeah. Well, we're outside your house right now. We'd like to come in and talk to you. You know, I said something to the fact, yeah, holler back at me, why don't you, baby? You know, and I clicked over and told Pearl, and she said, well, who was it? I said, I don't know, I didn't recognize that voice. I said, but you know, it was probably Cornbread or Fred B. or Mike T. or somebody, because they was, and Greg Green, because they was always doing things like that. So the phone buzzed again, and I clicked over again. So they said, excuse me, Miss Abdul, but this is Inspector so-and-so from the FBI. If you would just look out your window, you'll see the van parked across the street, 2 cars in back of it, 1 in front, and 3 across 14th on the corner. I looked out the window. Sure enough, the FBI was out there. You talking about promptly admitting you wrong. You know, yes, sir. You can come in. I don't have anything to hide. I want to know what this is all about. So, you'd be surprised at how the Spirit will move you to work through these steps. You know, and then going to step 11, you know, it's like looking for something deep. Automatically, we want to be deep, you know. We got to pray and meditate. We're going to light candles and, you know, do all sorts of little things. And, you know, I know for me, and looking for a way to pray and meditate, I thought I didn't know how to pray. So, you know, I got the religious zeal, and I went to church so they could teach me how to pray. And, you know, like I said, meditation, you know, it's like something I had to do out at Belle Isle or some other place and all that, you know, because I was deep. So I went on to the 12th step, and I was running around with the NA banner. I thought that anybody who knew about this program would want it. I really did. So I'm telling everybody I run into, even people that ain't even at it, you know, about this wonderful program called Narcotics Anonymous, these 12 wonderful steps, you know. As I continued to work the steps over and over and over and over and over again, they became different for me. I went back to that first step and learned that I had to admit that I was powerless over everything, really. You know, over people, over situations, circumstances. You know, powerless over the things that are going on in this fellowship here in this area today. There are a lot of things going on around here that I never imagined I would see happen. You know, I hear the words unity a lot. I don't see a lot of it, because if you don't have unity within your own area, how you going to have unity with other areas and other regions? You know, I'm a stickler for the traditions, always have been. You know, because I knew that was the glue that kept everything together, protected us from us. And we most definitely need protection from each other and ourselves. You know, the traditions are non-negotiable. They're designed to be that way, and I have seen them bent, spindled, and mutilated around here. You know, I no longer have the same energy that I had when I first got here. You know, I don't beat on tables anymore. Tell me, wait, hold it. You're violating the tradition. Because I used to do that. You know, it was important for me to have an atmosphere of recovery to come to. Now I hear a lot around here, and a lady that I was talking to out in the lobby earlier was saying, what happened to the older member? Ain't nothing happened to the older member. We're still here. We make different meetings. You know, we usually try to find the smaller, quieter meetings. You know, we've been through that phase where we had to see everybody and everything and had to be seen. You know, we want to listen, which is what we learned to do in the beginning. And I don't see too much of that going on anymore. Very seldom do I even hear, take the cotton out your ears and put it in your mouth. When the last time you heard that around a meeting? You know, when is the last time you heard put the same effort into your recovery as you did into your addiction? You know, and then all these little extra added attractions they have tacked on at the end of the meeting unnerved me to no end. That's why anybody who has ever closed with me at a meeting know I very simply say, keep coming back, it works. That's it. You got to work it every day. You got to work it every night. You got to work it with your spouse. You got to do it. The program in and of itself can stand by itself. It works. What about the person coming in who isn't clean, which was me? I was in the Met Clinic. If y'all had sang all that crap to me when I first got here, I would have left. I'm serious. It's serious. You know, you don't know who's coming in here toxic. You know, y'all just told me to keep coming back. It works. I didn't even know what it was. I didn't know whether it worked or not. It looked like it. You know, so I kept coming. You know, you need to remember that, you know, when you say different things to people, because you don't know where they're at. You don't know where they're at. The tradition said the only requirement is a desire. It does not say you have to be clean for membership. If you got a desire and you keep coming, something is going to change. Or you'll leave. Simple as that. You know, I learned too that what I did without the dope was much more insane than what I did when I was here. I could look at some of my past relationships since I've been here. Baby, baby, baby. Looky here. It's a terrible thing. You know, I don't want to talk about nobody. But I'm going to tell you, the last relationship I was in, and I shared this not too long ago at a meeting, was with a guy, and we in his car, and we riding around, and we done passed up 3 gas stations. And y'all think it's about gas, don't you? Because he didn't want to put a quarter in the air machine. Forgive me, Lord. That's a direct reflection on me, though. What was that at? What was I doing with him? You know what I mean? So, and that's just one example. You know, glad to say since then I have not even been involved, y'all. Yeah, because I know I need a lot of work. For me to be there, I knew I needed some help, y'all. You know, when I continued to work that 3rd step, I learned that what it really meant was relationship with God. I remember being at a meeting at Wheeler Recreation Center one time, and we were doing the 3rd step, and Benny handed me a piece of paper that simply said, trust. With that trust comes faith. I'd like to stand here and levitate for y'all and act like I'm all real spiritual and deep and spooky and all that other good stuff. But thank God I did have a relationship with God. I worked at it. You work at a relationship with God like you do with anybody else. First of all, you got to spend time with Him. You got to let Him know you care. You got to let Him know that you're open and available. 3.5 years ago, I was diagnosed with terminal cancer. They told me I said I wasn't going to cry this time, y'all. They told me I had 3 months to live. I'm not going to tell you that the first thing I did was fall on my knees and thank God. That'd be a lie. I was mad at God. I was mad at Him. Why? All this that I've been through, all this changing you had me doing for a life different from the one I had. Now you're telling me I ain't going to have none at all. it took some time, and that's when the fellowship kicked in. With the love that I got from the people which make up the fellowship, and leaning on them, leaning on their love, leaning on their faith, I once again developed some of my own. But I can tell you at that time I had none. Anytime you hear somebody sitting at the table talking about how spiritual they are, they ain't. If you are, you ain't even got to talk about it. It's going to show in the way you live, whether you want it to or not. So, that took a lot of doing. I said I was going to live life and live it to its fullest, and I proceeded about doing that for a while. Now, complacency will kick in on anything. And this past year, it's like I've been taking care of everybody else, trying to get that boy through that last year of high school so he could get out of my house. And seeing to everybody else's needs but my own, The end of last year, I was back in the hospital again. This time with something wrong with my heart. See, if God tap you on the shoulder, turn around then. Don't wait for him to push you and say, hey. And it's like I realized that that's what I was doing. Let me get back to the business of living. I'm going to tell you something else, too, about that living thing. I thought when I got here, I knew how to live. That all I needed to do was stop using and have some money. Really. I said, I know how to live. All I need is some money to do it with. Only to learn that had nothing to do with it. It had absolutely nothing to do with it. As I really kept doing a fourth step, I learned that it was not all about the bad and the ugly. It was also about the good and the positive. And if you do an unbalanced fourth step, of course it's going to be painful. But they never said just search and find everything that's wrong with you. You search and find what's right with you, what you can improve upon. I've said it before, I say it again. There's a little saying that say, a man is a terrible thing to waste. But a waste is a terrible thing to mind. That's gone. That's dead. Paint that blue. Let's move on. It's important for me to have people around me who will tell me the truth about myself. That's who you need when you do a fifth step. Somebody that's going to be honest with you and tell you the truth about yourself. So you will really know about your defects. I have learned one of my biggest defects is pride. I've been so sick during this illness early on when I was taking that strong chemo. All I could do was crawl to the bathroom. I lost 13 pounds in 1 week. I was a bag of bones. I could hardly move. I didn't want to go anywhere. All my hair fell out. I was bald as an eagle. But I got a cute little head though, y'all. But I didn't even want nobody to see it, so I got the wigs again, back to pat. And, but I felt all right and I came out, I started making meetings and going to conventions and began to feel alive again. But that's one of my biggest things, that false pride, that foolish pride. I'm so bad. Somebody can offer me some help, and I don't take it. I'm in the process right now. I want to move. I've been in that apartment with boxes of go-go for a few months now. That pride is keeping me there. Because I know I need some help. I can't move that stuff around by myself. I'm not good at organizing. I can cop to that. It came up in my inventory enough times. You know, but no longer is that unmanageability there. And I'm going to tell you how I know. Manageability came back to me early on, and I didn't even know it. I didn't even recognize it when I saw it. If I could manage to make a meeting and manage to not use, I was betting 1,000. That's a whole lot for a dope fiend to do. You know, I managed, since then, my life has been consistent. My kids no longer wonder where I'm at. When I relapsed, my daughter was the first one to know. She went to the meeting. When I came up missing at my home group, everybody knew. I had a consistent lifestyle. I had managed to be committed and in place, you know, and doing certain things. They knew I was either in school, at an NA meeting, at an NA service meeting, or at an NA dance. Anything else? Hey, where you at, Mama? Where you been? Who you been with? You know, so when we think there's no manageability there, look again. Take another look. Take another look. You know, that 7 step says it's the things that cause us pain and misery all our lives. If you have any doubt about what you need to ask God for, the 7th tradition lets you know, the 6th and the 7th. And the 6th tradition tell you money, property, and prestige, the virtue every time. Every time. And ain't nothing wrong with money, just the love of it. But money answers all things, you know. That 7th tradition says that we're supposed to be fully self-supporting. That meant, you know, and I was sharing with the lady out there, she was talking about meetings and other fellowship and, you know, some of the people that attended there and what kinds of people and whatnot. And, you know, I had initially gone there. That's where I did first find out that people can and do recover, but it wasn't the place for me. I'm strictly an NA girl. But I knew I had to get up out of there. Because the first thing I was going to do was look around for me a trick or a lame or something. I'm being real. See, that was one of the first things that I had to let go of. I never liked hustling in the first place. I couldn't stand their hands on. And that was with some dope. No, I can't handle it now. So who's fooling who? You know? Besides that, I needed to become self-supporting legitimately. Some people seem to have that confused around here about, you know, becoming fully self-supporting, you know, and being a productive member of society. Now, look, I don't mind if you come up in here and you got a legitimate business, you have a service to offer or something, hand out your card, let me know where you at, I'll give you a plate. Try to sell me no dope. Try to sell me no hot-ass clothes or nothing else. You know, I like the boots and I like clothes just as well as anybody else. I'm not going to support you using. And if you ain't picking up, you still using. You still caught up in the lifestyle. You know, there are people that I really, really care about. My very first sponsor, and I had hoped she would be down here. She was supposed to meet me down here. You know, I love her dearly, but she a wet face to me. I'm not going by her house. I don't want, it was another lady that I had thought was a friend until I really looked at our relationship, you know, and I looked at her behavior lately. Why do people think that because we come up in here, we get dumb? I could hear it in somebody's voice when I'm talking to them on the phone. You know how you get one and your voice changes? I still recognize that. You know what I'm saying? I know when you tell me something and you don't do what you tell me you're going to do, something wrong with this picture. I know I don't need to know anybody or be close to anybody, running or hanging with anybody that know where to cop. I don't know when I might be having a bad day. At any tick of the top, to the 59th minute of the final hour, I could pick up, and I don't forget that. Just like that. When I did, wasn't nothing wrong. Wasn't nothing wrong when I went out. Wasn't nothing wrong. I was on my way to the supermarket. Went to the market. Saw a guy I knew from the old neighborhood out there and said, hey, what's happening? And it was on. You know? So I know this is a disease that's cunning and baffling and powerful. I know that from experience, not from just what the books say. You know, I learned that with that 8th step, I was rationalizing a lot. There were a lot more people that I had to put on that list. And rather than wait on that perfect moment, that so-called opportune time, and we look for a lot of little crazy ways to do amends, you know, because really I thought that the mere fact that I had stopped using, I had made amends to the world. I wasn't setting nobody up. I wasn't stealing nothing from nobody. I wasn't breaking the law. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't breaking into nobody's house, stealing nobody's car. I wasn't doing none of that. So I really thought that I had kind of made it, you know, I'm in recovery. Ain't that enough? And it's not. But sometimes amends can be something just as simple as forgiveness. Even when you think the person doesn't need forgiveness. You know, I had to go through that. You know, my 2 little aunties, I call them arsenic and old lace. I mean, they're true. You know, I won't go into what they did. But anyway, it took me a long time to forgive them. But that's what I had to do. You know, the only 2 aunties I got, you know, and our relationship is so much better now. They will do for me. They glad to see me. They call me. They call me about their children. They call me about the program. They call me about treatment centers. My little cousins and whatnot. You know what I mean? So, and it is important. Sometimes you have to make monetary amends. I know this because the IRS has been telling me here lately. Iris, oh man. You know, I know too that when I promptly admit I'm wrong in the 10th step, that gives me some hope. It gives me some wisdom. It's like, you know, at some point, you need to look at the consequences before you do the deed. And that's what promptly admitting does. You know, before it gets any further, before it gets out of hand, you know, in order to change, you got to promptly admit when you're wrong. That's something that's not easy for me to do either. But I'm learning and I'm getting better at it. And I find out that it's a relief for me to do it. The 11th step, you know, I was thinking about this, you know, and I like ballroom. You know, I'm talking about that old school ballroom. I don't know nothing about that stepping and all that other stuff. But ain't nothing to me like a good partner ballroom. You know, and that's kind of what it's like in prayer and meditation. You know, I'm going to let God lead. I'm going to follow. I ain't going to him begging. I'm being grateful for all that he's given me. And we move like butter. You know? Damn, love the ballroom. You know? I'm not stepping on his toes. He's not stepping on mine. He's handling me gently and gracefully and lovingly. And he's taking me all over. All over. Every spot I need to go on the floor. I let him lead, he'll take me there. That's prayer and meditation. If you don't know how to do it, you can look at little simple things and see how they move. You know, the leaves, the water, rain, anything. Anything you don't have your grubby hands on and in control of. Hey, you know, and I learned too that meditation was more me quieting my mind and not trying to figure out nothing. You know, and it's hard because we got a lot of noise in the attic, y'all. You know, and we didn't even want to talk about 3 o'clock in the morning, what happens. You know, I told somebody, I said, you know what? I said, sometimes my mind is a dark street I don't need to be on at night. And especially not alone. The 12th step, there's a part in the book, in that 12th step, that says that we learn the art of helping when it is appropriate. You cannot make anybody do anything. It took me a while to figure out I was not the NA answer lady. I thought I was because y'all kept asking me the questions. But that's not it. You 12-stepping every time you treat somebody in this program with loving kindness. The newcomer, the newer member, is still supposed to be the most important person. You know, and all that rhetoric I hear about all them old dinosaurs, and you know, the older member is not here, and they are, I see them, I know they here, it's just not that many of us. You know, we're outnumbered now. You know, and they say, well, if they're not involved, if they want to change something, let them get involved in service. We done paid our dues. We tired. We tired. You know, and we don't have a lot of patience and tolerance for bullshit anymore. You know, we know how unnecessary it is, and sometimes we know it's best to say, okay, baby, just keep coming. Don't use. Make meetings. You know, other than that, we be hurly-gully in some of them service meetings. For real. And I know if something break out, I ain't gonna be fair. I'm too old to be fair. But you get challenged like that now in service meetings. I mean, people really attack you, attack your character. I went to a service meeting one time and the guy had the nerve to ask me, what the fuck you doing here anyway? I said, well, damn. Last I looked, NA was not a secret society. You know, I'm a member. I got a right to be here. I don't have to hold a service position to be here. I'm a member, because I say I am, damn it. You know. So, see, I told y'all, you know, hey, mother getting a little old now, you know, and I just don't have that kind of energy anymore, you know. But service meetings are very important. You know, any type of service work is important. You know, but you don't do service for recognition. You do service worthy of recognition. You know, and that's how the scripting got flipped. They think it's, some people think it's to be seen. And they say, you all that, you know, and, oh, that's so-and-so, and blah, blah, blah. King so-and-so, Emperor, what's the name? Shit. And most times they talk about people without programs, little do y'all know. Ain't working that step. You know what I mean? Ain't been to a meeting and sat down and listened and I don't know when. You know, when they have meetings, they work in the crowd even then. I said, damn. You know, the theme of this convention is spirituality starts here. I don't know if it starts here or not, but I know it damn sure ought to be here. It's needed here. It really is. You know, I really didn't want to get into all this, but honestly, y'all, I call this convention DACNA. I don't call it DACNA. I know how it came about, and listen, whenever spiritual principles are in conflict, there's confusion. That's what's happening around here. It's real simple. Like the rest of the program is so simple. You know, if everything was going in divine order, wouldn't be all that conflict. Where there's conflict, there's controversy. And we certainly have a lot of that going on around here. You know, I came to this fellowship, and you have given me dignity and integrity. You know, even professionally, I know how to carry myself. I know how to handle myself. You know what I'm saying? I get a lot of props, but it's only because of the program. You know? And it's a sad day when you look around the program, and you don't see the integrity that you're trying to have. You don't see things based on spiritual principles. You know? You trying to stop all that lying and cheating and stealing and a host of other things that we won't talk about. You know, but they're running amok around you. You know, I really feel for the newer member today. You know, I don't know what it would be like looking through their eyes today. Is this really a program of attraction? Is it? An attraction to what? You know? Attraction to what? What are they being attracted to now? You know? Conventions have changed so much. It's really a money-making enterprise now. You know? What happened to the celebration of recovery? When there's a celebration of recovery, we hem people up and try to drain them dry for all the information they had about the program. You know, because that's what we wanted to know about. What's it like in your area? And listen, I have been other places, and every place I have been, I have never seen the stuff go on that goes on here. I've been places, hey, get this, y'all, from this area, meeting starting in on time. Key tag ceremony take 5 minutes. It would shock some of you to see the difference in the structure of the places. You know, I guess I have been on that tirade long enough. Remember all the principles of this program. Please, try to adhere to them. Because, you know, even when we get to the 12th step, it says, having had, as a result of, then we tried. And that's all we can do. That's all that's required of us. Then we tried. You know, I have tried, and I thank y'all for listening to me.
My name's Herb. I'm an addict. Can we close in our usual manner?